Hey everybody, this is Sad Panda Presents. We either have been and are probably going to continue to drink, so there's going to be some poor judgment and offensive language. So let's get it started.
All right, fantastic. I am Shane, and what are you doing, Dembski?
Well, I'm up here in the cold, and my name's Andrew. So
Your day, how did it go?
Pretty good. The last 3 of 4 days, I've woken up to snow, and the 4th was freezing rain.
God damn it. That sucks so bad. I'm so sorry. That is terrible.
It is what it is. What are you gonna do, right?
I kind of want to ask you about the weather, but I don't, because I know it's going to be nothing but bad.
Well, it's not that bad, because, I mean, it's usually sunny in the middle of the day and all that. So it's not overly terrible. It's just waking up to this bullshit isn't always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, I never want to ask you about temperature, because I know it's always, like, god-awful.
Yeah, the fact that it's April and I'm waking up to snow on a fairly regular basis is not really fun. But
yeah, we had a northern blow through, and it was like 50 yesterday, and I know you're mad.
Yeah, I wake up and it's freezing every morning. It's whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Awesome. I'm sorry that shit is bad for you.
It's okay.
So, what are you drinking, Bubba?
I'm drinking Space Dust.
Oh man, it's a good one. It's a really good one. I like that. Illusion, is that right?
Yeah. It's good shit. Job. It's pretty much my go-to now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's readily available and not terribly expensive.
Right on, man.
Although I'm waiting for my second batch of homebrew to carbonate, so we'll see how
How'd
that
goes.
Go. I don't know. The first one, I used the little serving keg that they give you in the kit, and like the first couple of beers were pretty much all head. So this time I tried bottling, and I just used beer bottles that I drank and then washed them and sanitized them. And so that's got to sit for 2 weeks to carbonate. It's already fermented. It's got to sit for 2 weeks to carbonate now. It's bottled and capped. And then once that's done, I'll throw them in the fridge and I'll drink them.
Right on, man.
The first one was good. It was, even for an IPA, it was a little bitter for my personal taste. And it had this weird sour note that I couldn't place. Maybe I didn't clean something properly. I'm not really sure. Who knows? So the second one, maybe it'll be better.
Fun, exciting.
So how was your day, bub?
It was a long one. Long story short, I spent way too much time at work, and upon going to work, so my day went okay. Spent a lot of time at work. 3/4 of my day was trying to fucking send those goddamn planks to you.
Man, I'm so sorry about that. I didn't realize it was going to be such a hassle. I've received lumber in the mail from, I don't know, UPS or somebody, where it was just wrapped in fucking plastic and they stuck a label to it. So I thought you could do that.
I thought so too. However, I was wrong. But on the plus side, the Tamuk Beach Volleyball won the national championships this weekend.
Huh.
And so all the coaches and shit came to Green Jay today because they were fucking excited about winning it, and we supported them day one.
Right.
I love all the coaches. They're all great. They're amazing. They do great jobs. and they fucking won. This is their second year of doing beach volleyball, and they won the national championship their second year.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man, they were. I was super stoked to see them. I was. Everybody was just.
Did you get to watch the championship on like TV or anything?
I didn't get to see it, but they showed me replays.
Oh, okay.
Of what happened, because it was this weekend, and I didn't get to watch it. But
yeah, I mean,
they fucking knocked it out of the fucking park. Like, we were a fucking, like, I think they were seated like 8th, and they came in and won it. They were amazing.
Damn.
Like, yeah.
That's what's up.
So that's why it took me a little while to get over here, and I celebrated a little bit with them. Because like the volleyball team for Tamuk has been there day one since the restaurant opened. Like, they were there and partying, they were there supporting us and asking, you know what I mean? So Gary, the head beach volleyball guy, he was like, look, we're going to take this trophy to 2 places. It's going to this restaurant right now, and then it's going to the case at Tamuk. I was like, dude, it means they all came in and celebrated. It made me feel good that they.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
Well.
Fucking A. All right. Anyway, a quick gushing about things and stuff. All right, so
no. It's good for you to gush every once in a while.
I'm excited because
you should be.
Because fuck football, fuck basketball. They don't show up to my restaurant. Volleyball, day one, all day, every day. And I support women's volleyball. That's what they fucking come to my restaurant and they fucking eat my food. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's fucking legit as shit. I'm real happy to hear that.
All
right.
Back about it.
So, what we're talking about today is the Porcupines dilemma. So, just a little background. This concept was introduced by a German philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer. That's as close as I'm going to get to pronouncing it right. So the idea is that a group of porcupines, it's also known as the hedgehog's dilemma, I guess because they're both spiny animals. Anyway, a group of porcupines in the winter huddle together for warmth, but if they get too close, they prick each other, so then they back the fuck up, and then they're cold, so they want to huddle together, and eventually find a place of the just right, like the Goldilocks zone of being close enough where it's tolerable cold, but they can survive. So his conclusion to this dilemma was politeness, distance full of compassion, or proximity but with the needed distance. So it applies to like social situations, and you get close to people close enough that you feel what you need to feel in a social situation, but not too close that you're like pouring your heart out and shit like that, because you're gonna get hurt. Schopenhauer was known to be very pessimistic, as the Germans are. And one of his quotes, or straight out of his writing, is, "The world offers no choice beyond solitude on one side and vulgarity on the other." So kind of a look into his thought process when speaking about the Porcupines dilemma. That was one of his direct quotes.
Yeah, that sounds pretty off-putting.
Yeah.
That sounds, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, that's just a little background into kind of the way this man approached things in general. I didn't look too heavily into other work that he did. And honestly, trying to do research for this topic was led to a lot of dead ends of everybody had kind of the same thing to say about it. But one of the other takeaways I took from it, and I don't remember where exactly I got this phrase from, but it was intimacy cannot occur without substantial harm. So if you get close enough to somebody to be intimate, physically, emotionally, socially, whatever, you're eventually going to get hurt. It just comes with the territory.
Yeah, you are.
Right?
I mean, that's the whole point. What's the point of being in a relationship without taking some kind of penalty? Like, when one gets into a relationship with someone, no matter what level it may be, you open yourself up. Therefore, you get, like, from another porcupine stance, you are willing to open yourself up to get wounded.
Right.
Right?
That's part of his whole thing. It's used. This whole idea is used to explain a lot of like introversion and isolationism. It gets used a lot. The porcupine's dilemma, like the whole get close enough to be comfortable, but not so close that you incur harm, is famously used in psychology and therapy to like explain why people are introverted and explain why people are socially anxious and why they push people away to an extent. And one of the other things was it can lead to like it explains why people feel social rejection because they get close and they get pricked. They get hurt. So that people become unsociable because of it. Or that's one of the main theories, at least. This philosophy was adopted by Sigmund Freud as well.
What did Freud have to say about it?
Well, I didn't find, or maybe I didn't dig deep enough, but I didn't find a lot about what he had to say. But one of the things was when Sigmund Freud went to the USA in 1919, people asked why he was going, and his response was, "I'm going to the USA to catch sight of a wild porcupine and to give some lectures." So, interpret that how you will.
Why'd you pick this, Bubba?
I thought it was an interesting social idea because it's also not used just to explain some people being extremely introverted, which is something that I've kind of dealt with. I'm a little socially anxious and a little quite introverted. I'm practically a hermit up here, but I have extremely close relationships with the people I do have relationships with you, with Tyler, with Caleb, with Kirsten, my parents, with Chris. So the few people I carry heavy relationships with, they're super deep. And this idea is used a lot to explain why some people have consistently weak relationships. And so I thought the idea of taking what's generally regarded as an overly pessimistic idea and shedding some light on the optimistic side of it as well would be interesting, because some other philosophers, and I can't quote anything because we're already close to the end of my notes. I did about an hour of research and it was a lot of dead ends. It really was.
Okay.
One of the other arguments behind where this can end up is people that tend to be socially outgoing, when they're dealing with pain or whatever, they increase their efforts to get close to people. So the rejection is like, okay, well, I'm not trying hard enough, so I need to try harder. And so a lot of outwardly social people may approach it that way, or maybe that's the optimistic argument to it. But, you know, the fundamental idea by Schopenhauer is that you need the warmth of other people, but by staying far enough away, you won't get hurt. But whatever.
Okay. So what you're saying is the dilemma is people need people, but we have our quirks that push us away from other people. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when you encounter somebody that's just an asshole, like, you know, if you reach out, if you reach a hand of friendship out and you're like shooting the shit with them and they're just a fucking douche nozzle and you don't want to talk to that person anymore. Or if you spend a lot of time with somebody you think is your friend and then they just fuck you over in some way or whatever, so you end up getting hurt.
I don't see it that way. Because
Okay.
I am the exact opposite of the porcupine dilemma. I feel like I'm a friend to the strangers and a stranger to friends. So me personally, I'm used to, you know, engaging strangers and fucking, hey, how you doing? Where you from? Kind of shit. Because of what my lifestyle is like. But keeping lasting relationships, when people want to get to know me as a person, I push them away.
You're not a stranger to me.
Oh, no. Yeah, well, there's always exceptions to the rules. But the thing is, I feel like I'm good on the surface, but I push people away that want to know me. Because I don't know.
Okay. So I think I relate to what you're saying in a certain manner. Like, I have a close group of friends. I don't really want more close friends. I'm satisfied with the relationships I have that are deep, that I don't really want other people trying to sink their teeth into me and get a deeply rooted connection with me, because I'm done with that. Something along that vein?
Yeah, no, kinda. Yes and no. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's something like that. I just, I don't like, I don't know. I've got 1,000 things going on, and I know like 100 people whose names I don't know their first names. Literally, like, come into my restaurant every day. They know me, I know them. I damn sure don't know their first name. I don't know what their fucking mama did back in 1968 or any of that shit. So, the thing is, I run a restaurant.
Right.
So my forte is to be very surface. I have to be fun, I have to be light, I have to be polite. I have to like everybody that comes in.
Right.
And I like that about myself. I like that I like being liked.
Yeah,
I like the fact that people like me.
You're very good at customer service. You are.
I'm very good at being liked.
Right.
It's kind of my forte. However, I don't let anybody in at all.
Right.
So that porcupine dilemma, like my shards, if you were to put if you were to roll a porcupine over and his quills were like 3 times longer on his belly, that would be me. I have like none on top and like 50 feet on the bottom.
Well, I mean, in some regard, you're the definition of the classic porcupine, because you're in this huge group that wants warmth of, social interaction. So you give that you give a little bit to everybody, but you don't let anybody get close enough to give you, or them for that matter, the comfort of like a close relationship. It's just enough to be like, okay, we're friends. But it's not enough to be like, yeah, I know what he's doing right now. I know what his mom did last week. It's like, you get close enough to people to socially interact, but you're still, if they wanted to come over to your house, you're like, no, get the fuck away from me.
No.
Maybe not that extreme, but along those lines?
No. It's more of, I don't know. I guess I do it subconsciously. Now that I think about it, I don't really mean to be off-putting to other people, but I am.
How so? Because it's very rare that I feel that you're off-putting.
I don't know. I'm just not very open to, I don't know. I think. I don't let people in very well.
To like the deep stuff.
Period. Like, when I meet a person, I know how far I can let them in. Based on, and I know, and that's a me thing. Like, unless they prove otherwise, like, I'm going to judge this person, because I've met a lot of motherfuckers, and I'm just gonna, you know what, you get to go to, let's say there's 5 stages of my shells. This motherfucker gets the shell 2. This motherfucker with potential might get to 4, but I doubt it.
So, in a social situation, would you say that you're very likely to focus the conversation on them? Like when you're dealing with customers and stuff, if you're behind the bar or whatever, hell, even dealing with like interviews for new employees or whatever, you're more likely to focus the conversation on them and keep your personal life out of it completely.
Yup.
Yeah.
1,000%. I might, I did this one time while in conversation, but no, absolutely, it's always on them. Because I want to know who the fuck they are.
Right. So you keep your personal information to like fun little anecdotes about your life.
Absolutely.
But you don't tell them like who your family is or any of that shit.
Oh, fuck no.
Right.
Absolutely not. No, I don't talk about my family. People, like, I've worked with people for like 8 months and they're like, oh shit, you have a kid? I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. They're like, who the fuck is that little kid with you? I was like, that's my son. Oh, fuck, you have a son? What? Yeah, I don't, no, yeah. This is work life, this is family life. I'm fucking like, it's a whole other animal. I don't mix the breed.
Right, yeah.
That's just me.
I think personally,
I think you're a lot better than that than I am.
Well,
like, you don't wall your shell. I don't know.
Well, I think the difference is that I'm much more silent in a social situation. I'm very I'm kind of awkward and introverted, and I keep to myself a lot. So when I meet people, I'm very friendly about getting to know people and sharing information about myself if you know how to talk to me the right way. But you have to know how to talk to me the right way. And then once you break through that initial barrier, I'm kind of, what the fuck do you want to know? I'm an open book. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But you have to break that initial barrier first, because I'm not just going to, unless I'm extremely intoxicated, I'm not going to just go and talk to a group of strangers or any strangers at all, really. I'm going to stick very closely to the people I know, or if I don't know anybody, I'm gonna be by myself. It's the reason, like, in a lot of social situations, when I'm ready to leave, I just ghost the fuck out. I don't say goodbye to anybody, because I don't really care about most people. So I don't really bother to even break open the front door and be like, "Hi, I'm Andrew." I don't do that unless I've been interacting with you previously, or I don't know. You're easy to like start a conversation with. I'm not. But once you get past that initial wall, I'm open about a lot more things than I probably should be. And you're the opposite. You're real easy to talk to about whatever the fuck you want, but you have explicit barriers and shells. Like, I'll talk to every motherfucker in this place, but I'm going to leave and nobody's going to know anything about me. And I'm the opposite, where I'll talk to one motherfucker in this place and they're going to know everything about me.
That's absolutely, that's why, we're very much different in that way.
Yeah.
That you absolutely talk to, you'll be a wallflower, fucking sitting your ass in the fucking corner and fucking nerd out about whatever the fuck it
all
may
goddamn
be. But
night.
talking to 14 fucking people, and they're like, "Oh, that guy, I don't know, but he was that guy."
Yeah.
So I guess here's the question: What's how do we bridge this gap? Sorry.
I don't know.
How do we bridge the gap? How do we bridge the gap?
How you bridge the gap is
Ryan. Hashtag Ryan. He's good. He's better than us than we are. He's better at that than we are.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
But seriously, like, how do we change the ways we are? And that's the question. How do we do differently?
I think it starts with intent. I think you have to want to do differently, first of all. Because, like, at work, I'm open to talking to, like, I'm a fucking social butterfly at work. I'll talk to anybody there. I'll talk to anybody at that fucking place. But if I see people outside of work, it's a head nod, and that's about all you get. Like, I don't want to interact with you outside of work. You're a work person. That's where you stay. Outside of work, fuck off. Like, I mean, aside from the occasional thing, like, when Kirsten was up here, one of my coworkers, the guy that basically trained me, had a St. Patty's Day get together in his basement bar. And dude has a finished basement with the most legit fucking bar. Like, he could run a business out of it. It was that legit. Fucking awesome. Beer on tap, full beer, full fridge, full of bottle and can beer, full liquor cabinet, all that shit. Legit. So, went over there with Kirsten, and we had a good time and all that shit. But I'm not hitting this dude up to hang out outside of work ever. He's like, "Hey, by the way, we're having a get together." And had Kirsten not been up here, I wouldn't have gone by myself. Because, I don't know. Yeah, he trained me at work, and I talked to him a lot at work, but I probably wouldn't have gone because I don't need the social interaction. And she wanted to go out and meet people that I interact with on a daily basis, because, you know, she's like, "I want to know more about your life up there and who you interact with." And I'm like, well, honestly, I mostly interact online with the Tadpog Nation, and I talk to Shane and Caleb and my brother and my parents on the phone a lot. That's about it. Like, I don't hang out with any of these people outside of work because I don't need to or really want to, for the most part.
We went real tangent, like personal shit. I mean, I get you, Bubba. Fuck yeah. Damn, dog. But I guess I could say the same for me. I go to work, I put my fucking headphones in, and I'm fucking checked the fuck out. I go to H-E-B, get the food that I need. I get fucking whatever. I don't know. I'm empty. I'm empty inside.
I wouldn't say that, but...
And no one. I push people away because I have been. The only real fucking person that breaks my fucking barrier is Darla, because I have to. Yeah. And you, because I want to. Yeah. And my son, who's been texting me, which is adorable.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Oh, that's
like,
good.
He sends me all this stupid shit like, "Hey, Dad, blah, 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 smiley face, eggplant, smiley face, eggplant."
I love that he uses the eggplant. That's fantastic.
He's used it twice. And I'm like, oh, Tadpog, this Tadpog was nice. Nice beat.
This is gold. Aubergine. Aubergine.
Aubergine. In about 10 years, you'll be ready for Louisville.
Well, and I think I think part of where my shit stems from is that I've always been extremely shy. I mean, I've been introverted my whole life. Like, when I was a little kid, if I was out in public, I was glued to my mom's leg. And
all right. Yeah, I know. I know about you. Let's fuck this. Let's talk about the idea of pushing people away. Mm-hmm. Why do people push people away?
Because it hurts to get close.
What?
It hurts to get close to people.
It hurts to get close.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the argument of the porcupine, right? It hurts to get close to people. You get close to people and something happens and they hurt you.
Yeah. What's the point of fucking doing it without... I mean, what's the point of making the effort without... It's going to hurt. Right? That's the whole point of fucking...
I think the point of the effort is because close social interaction can also be extremely rewarding.
So, boy...
Right?
I mean, what the juice... The question is the juice worth the squeeze?
Right.
As far as people go. Right? So, yeah, you're going to get hurt, and it's a matter of what you do next. I feel like the argument itself is a blatant truth. Mm-hmm. But the question is, what do you do next? Do you fucking lay down? Do you isolate yourself? Or do you move forward? And that hurt. God damn it.
And so I guess that's the pessimist versus the optimist argument. Do you isolate yourself or do you try again harder?
Fuck yeah. Pick yourself up and do it again. I mean, why wouldn't you? Right? No, don't get it fucked up. I had a relationship that really fucked me up. She fucking meant the world to me. And I couldn't do anything about it. It just ended.
Yeah.
Things went on. And now I've got a girl. There's a girl who is really into me. And I'm not so into her. But I don't want to be an asshole. Like, I don't want to push her away. But the thing is, I've got to I've got to say, you know what? This is not what you think it is.
Well, you got to be honest. I mean,
what do you do?
You be honest. I mean, you have to explain to this woman that you don't feel the same way.
Oh, I have, and she just will not. She's not having it.
Well, she's taking that route of, well, I'm just going to try harder. I'm going to try harder. I'm going to try harder, and
by putting her fucking pincers into me, or poking me,
right?
She's pushing me away. Like, their quills are growing longer, but pushing me away. Right. Because I made my intentions true.
But I think you have a good point with you have to kind of pick and choose your battles with some of this stuff, because Some people's quills are shorter than others. And it's not just that. Your quills can be selective.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I mean, that's a huge part of it, is who do you direct the negativity towards?
I mean, there have been, exactly, because there have been good people in my life that I've pushed away, and there have been a lot of bad people that I've kept in.
Right.
I've misjudged, I guess you could say, my quills on the length of those to those people. But the thing is, I don't know, me as a person, I accept everybody, but I damn sure keep everybody, like, the people that I like, you've got, I don't know.
You keep them at arm's length.
Yeah. Which is more of a me thing, right?
For the most part.
I just don't trust my part.
That's one of your personality traits. Like, I mean, I know, at least with the two of us, it took a long time before we were as close as we are. Like, even when we started hanging out on a regular basis, you still held me at arm's length for quite a while.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it wasn't because you thought I was a bad person. It wasn't because, and maybe you did, fuck, I don't know. But it wasn't because of anything personal. On my front, that's just how you are. And until we got past, I don't know, we probably cried in front of each other one night. And that was probably like the breaking point. And, you know, like, that was probably the breaking point. And I can't remember any exact moment, because we were drunk a lot. But there was a moment when that shit broke down and you let me into the deeper side of shit. Versus me, who, my personality type is like, once you break through the initial barrier, which for you and I was like, well, in the very beginning, Tasha, but music, before you like approached me as like, let's fucking hang out. So I guess music was probably kind of like the barrier breaker, but basically once you got into my life, you were in it. But at the same time, like, I also have the shell thing with you where I keep work people at arm's length, and I'm like, yeah, not gonna.
Yeah.
You know.
But my problem is now is that I don't know how to let people in. I know we talked about the porcupine or whatever the fuck.
Whatever.
But now my problem is I don't know how to let people in. Like, I'm trying to, I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to make moves to do it, but I'm so fucking cynical that I don't allow that to happen. So now, what do I do?
That's a really good question.
How do I break these walls down and fucking just let people in?
You say you know way too many people, but you know a lot of people on a surface level. You don't know people beyond that. And you just kind of have to let people in, but how do you do that?
Yup. How do you do that? How do you break that shell? No, I've got too many fucking barriers up. No, nobody's getting in.
Well, I think part of the problem also is that you're dealing with a lot of people that are very quick to break those barriers down on their side because they're on the other side of the bar from you. They're getting drunk and you're not. So you're keeping this conscious thought about not letting these drunk assholes get to know your personal details. And I think one way to do it is to do like what we're doing with our D&D group. That's letting people past just the surface level Shane, because they're getting an insight into how you think and how you manage things, and the emotional side of you, because they're seeing how you DM the games. So they're getting a look deeper into you, whether you know it or not, or whether you want them to or not. They're getting a deeper look into you just through that alone. It's also all dudes, so you're not going to find romance there, but except me.
Oh, but I don't want that to happen, if that makes sense.
It does.
Like, the problem I have with me is it's always all or nothing. Like, I'm gonna fucking tell you exactly how I feel, what the fuck, I'm gonna gush and fucking tell you everything.
Right.
Or, no. I'm not good at pacing my thoughts and emotions into a logical time frame, like normal people do, like normal relationships go. Like, okay, I'll give you a little bit of here, I'll get a little bit here, a little bit here. Oh,
you stick yourself at surface level.
I'm fucking all or nothing.
You don't have that middle ground.
Nope. And so,
except with so maybe just you and I recording like this is a good thing, because I'm publishing this to the goddamn world. I'm sure there's like 2 people, if that actually have listened to any of it.
It's you and me.
Well, that's what I meant. And I don't listen to them once they're published. I've already heard it like 4 or 5 times by the time it's published. So that shit's out the door. But you know, if people start to listen to this, they'll actually get to know more about who they're dealing with.
Oh, yeah. The episode where Shane has a mental breakdown. Awesome.
So, right.
Is there more to talk about?
Not really. I don't have more notes or anything, but
you ran out of notes fucking an hour ago.
Oh, dude, I ran out of notes 15 minutes in. I thought you were gonna have more to say about Schopenhauer. I thought you knew this guy at all in some way, shape, or form.
Nope. I went to go do notes. Found out that the Temuk beach volleyball girls won the championship, and I got stuck in doing that.
No. I know. I had a crazy fucking march.
7:45 in the morning this morning, because my cook lost his keys, and I had to go open the restaurant. And then I've been doing shit ever since. And then I had to go fucking figure out how to mail your fucking...
Yeah,
that's...
Dude,
fucking...
I would have given up an hour in.
Oh, dog, no. That was That bullshit, your bullshit was 3/4 of my day.
That's retarded.
Yeah.
You should have given up after an hour. Because I would have just gone down to Kingsville and checked that shit on the plane. Like, but...
50 pounds? 50 pounds of fucking lumber?
50 pounds?
Yo.
Damn, dog.
Those are 2 slides.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, man. Nah, dude, I would have just checked that shit. I would have gone home for Christmas and put that in checked luggage. Send it back.
Dog, it's 2 slats is 50 pounds, dog. They like 2 inches deep.
That's awesome.
There's 4 of them. Like, by like fucking 5 feet deep.
You have no idea how excited I am.
About that much wood?
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
how excited you get.
Nah, man, that's crazy.
That's why it's a fucking issue.
That's awesome. That had to cost you like $1 a pound to ship.
Well, it's not shipped yet, but I got a quote for $89.
All right. I'll shoot you. That's honestly, for 50 pounds of lumber, a bill is cheap. I'll shoot you a bill, no problem.
Fuck that! You shoot me 2 bills. You owe me for Louisville.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Anyway.
So
fucking porcupines suck.
Yeah.
Suck.
What? Well, there's another side of the argument that's when you deal with social rejection, you just try harder and try harder and try harder, which I feel like is something neither of us are exceptionally good at. Like, you're really good at reaching out, but if somebody fucks you over, you don't really go back and try to reestablish a connection with them. Nor do I.
I do have to say yes, I did once. But the thing is with that, when somebody hurts you too much, you've got to grow as a person to cut them off.
Right.
You have to have the ability to just say nope and cleave them from you. Right,
but I think what one of the arguments is just as like some people, like, you're pretty socially outgoing, so maybe you actually are kind of this person to an extent, but like when you're dealing with customers and shit, and I know this from experience as well, you have to take that mentality of the customer is right to a pretty far extent. Like, a customer has to fuck up pretty bad before you're like, no, fuck you, get the fuck out of my restaurant. You know what I mean? So, when they have small complaints, even if it is their own fault, if they have small complaints, you kind of just deal with that shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, you go back and be like, oh, well, I'm sorry that you had this problem, but how can I make it better? And that's something we've both experienced working in the restaurant industry for so long, we have to come back and try harder to make shit work out. And I think that's one of the arguments. Sorry.
Even if it's a slight, you have to make it your fault to make them okay. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So, like, if somebody's complaining about the mustard or whatever the fuck is on the table, like, you know what? We should have thrown that out 2 days ago. I'm so sorry. That's our fault. You make them in the right.
Even though you put new shit in the bottle every day.
Even though that fucker was dropped in 20 minutes before they got there.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you gotta make it your fault to make them, to appease them.
And so, I don't know if
or even in the fact that, like, think about it like this. I had a good example of that the other day, where this customer came in and she was not happy with the waitress.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she sat them down, she got their drinks, and she was just not having the waitress.
Right.
So what I did was like, you know what? You get off that table. Waitress number 2, you take that table now.
Right.
And then after that, fucking customer was stupid happy.
Yeah.
It's a matter of a change of venue. Like, oh, you know what? I didn't like that person at the time, and therefore I got a new person, and you know what? I like this person now.
Right. Well, that's one of those situations where the customer judged the waitress on site. Waitress number 1 was judged on site. She came to the table, and either the pitch of her voice, or the way she looked, or...
Well, it was a matter... It was a situational thing. Like, she didn't like the booth she was in. She didn't like this and that. And
right.
You know what? Let's not do... Like, she's already pissed off about being here, and let's take you, waitress 1, out of this scenario.
Right.
And put 2 in... And then she has a new experience.
Right.
So now we can reestablish, hey, you have a new experience. I'm a new person, and you're not going to be pissed off about all the petty shit that you were pissed off about. Sometimes that's all it takes.
So I think that's a good take, at least from the customer service side, which is something we're both pretty experienced in. I think that's a good take on the optimistic side of the approach to this philosophy is someone presented their quills and pricked you, being this customer. And so the optimistic side of this argument says you come back and try even harder to establish a social connection. And so on the customer service side, you came back and said, okay, well, what can I do to make everything better? How do I make this situation happy for both of us? And you try even harder to find the positive outcome in this situation, even though you got hurt a little bit, or your waitress did, or whatever. You come back stronger, you come back harder, you come back faster, whatever. And you say, okay, we're going to do this and this and this and this, and we're not going to reference Daft Punk for everything. Sorry.
Were you waiting for that?
No, I recognize.
You preemptively did that.
No. I swear to God, I recognized myself doing it, and I was like, all right, I have to call myself out for being such a twat.
That was in the. I missed the harder, better, stronger.
Yeah, because I did it out of order too. So.
Yeah, I did.
But anyway, the optimistic side of the argument is you get pricked, and you try harder than the first time, and that's like the socially optimistic person. And I think that's customer service in a nutshell, even though we're getting a little off base. But that's kind of the role you have to take with customer service, is you have to be the customer is always right to a certain extent. I mean, you and I both know the customer is generally speaking wrong, but you make a harder effort to get the return business, to get your waitress a little bit better tip, to what have you, but you're trying harder even though you were hurt.
Oh, so the question really is who do we keep at arm's length, and why do we do that? Who do we let in, and why are those people let in, as opposed to why do we keep others out?
Right.
So what is it about people, about a particular person, that we may let in or keep distance toward?
When we think about that, I think it comes down to partially a question of circumstance, and partially
is it a matter of relatability? Is it a matter of, do we connect with that person? Is it moment fleeting? Like, I've let people in that I didn't like.
I think it's...
I wish weren't there. I've let people at a distance that I shouldn't have.
I think it's a mix of all of those things, because there's certain... I think everybody has a mixture of these relationships where sometimes you let the wrong person in, and sometimes you don't. And so I think it's a mixture of all these things. And
so now, is it a matter of personal judgment, where you've failed on one side and then didn't let, you failed on one side and let somebody in that hurt you, and then kind of pushed another person away that you didn't mean to?
Again, I think it's a mix, because there's certain people that, if you look at a balance of all of the relationships you've had in your life, and I don't mean you directly, I mean you, the general you of people.
The one, yeah.
I think it's a general mix of judgment and circumstance and ideology and personality and what have you, but all of these things combine to who you let in, why you let them in, who you don't let in, why you don't, and these things just happen. I mean, when you look at like even our own friendship, we met multiple times before we really established a connection.
Yeah.
You know, there was times when I opened up and you shut me out, and you opened up and I shut you out, and vice. All these things come together into a culmination of we ended up being in the same place at the same time, kind of just drinking together. You know, the first time we met, we didn't really establish connection. The next few times after that, we didn't really establish a connection until we came across a moment where we both saw something in each other where we both found an attractive quality or two in each other and happened to be at the same bar drinking with basically nobody else around before we kind of like, hey, you want to actually hang out intentionally versus just a matter of circumstance. Eventually we got to a point where we got emotional with each other, and then that was when the real shit happened. The real bond formed. And that probably wasn't until months after we really met each other.
True. But the real question is it worth it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it, I mean, I'm not saying you and I's relationship, but the idea is, that was a much better question in my head than it came out. The question I ask is, okay, so over time, of course, we became friends, but the thing is, off the cuff, like, when do you determine when the juice is worth the squeeze as a person? Like, when do you determine that they are good or bad for you? And what if somebody's bad for you? What do you do next? How do you cut them off? Like, or if they're good for you, how do you continue that? Like, what is the
I think that's a really good question.
Step? What is the next step? Once you fucking prick that porcupine, if he pricks you back in the right way, what do you do next?
I think that's a really good question, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle.
Is maintaining the bond, or whether it's worth doing or not doing in any relationship. Is it worth doing or not doing?
Yeah, I think that's a huge question, and I think that's a really large undertaking to figure out. And I think that's where a lot of this philosophy comes into play, is that how distant do you keep yourself from a relationship, and for how long? And
well, it's a matter of, I guess, in a fucking really roundabout way, it's a matter of who do you choose to go forward with, and is it worth continuing? Like, if you made the right choice into this person that you are connected with, how far are they going to take you? Like, how far do they need you, and do you need them? And are you going to build a relationship? Is it worth it? If it's not, then what do you do next? Like, what do you, like, let's say we met and fucking you fucked off. What do you do next? You know? Like if you said, you're not worth my time because you're kind of a piece of shit, what do you do next as a person?
And I think that's the two different arguments. You either stop trying or you try harder.
Okay.
And how you determine those things is, I think, based a lot on your personality traits. And I think that's what a lot of these psychologists and philosophers focus on, is how do people approach these situations, and how do people use their own personality traits? What subconsciously makes that decision? Do I try harder to establish a relationship with this person, or do I back the fuck away and leave them alone. And I think that comes down a lot to the personality type that you are and what have you. But like, I know at least in my case, when I see something worth having, I do try really hard to maintain it to an extent. But on the most general level, I push people from the very get-go, unless I see something I really like in that person from the get-go. And you're more like, I'm going to accept everybody right off the start, but unless I see something really special, I'm not going to continue.
Yeah, that's exactly me. You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
And I think I think that's what we've established through this particular conversation. I think that's one thing we've really gotten to the root of.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our two personality types are really good examples of kind of the two arguments that are made about this whole situation to begin with. Because you and I are very different, even though we're as close as we are.
Very different porcupines.
Yeah.
But still the pandas.
The saddest of pandas.
That is the pandas. No, you're absolutely right. I would be the one fucking drawing in and you'd be the one pushing away. But come cold season, motherfuckers gotta... My clothes come out real deep.
Right.
No, you're right. Huh. I like, man, you went deeper than I thought this was gonna be.
Man, I didn't expect it to go this deep either. I assume the nature of our conversations, we tend to take pretty deep dives, so I assumed we were gonna get deep at some point. I didn't expect it to go exactly the way it did.
Well, it did.
But that's part of what I fucking love about talking to you.
Yeah, shit got real. Shit got real.
Show did that, goat.
Oh, did that goat. Well, I'm done talking today.
Yeah,
I've had enough today.
Alright, so give me a toast.
Fuck, which is the one?
Let's end it
I
out.
don't know. I don't remember the ones we've done or not done.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. And I'm going to say you can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us at sadpandapresents.com. You can find us at facebook.com/sadpandapresents. Not sure if we're going to... So, what's our toast?
Alright. I don't think I've done this one. Alright, you ready? Here's to the bull and the bee. The bull stung the bee and started the bull a-bucking. Here's to Adam and Eve, who started the world a-fucking. Clink!
Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. Join us next month. Alright, have a good night. Music credit goes to bensound.com. Thanks.